High on the barren plateau of the scorching Judean desert, nearly 1,000 Jewish rebels stood at the edge of oblivion. It was 73 AD, and Rome's unstoppable war machine had cornered them at Masada, their last stronghold. Surrounded by 10,000 Roman soldiers and faced with an impossible choice, surrender, die in battle, or take their own lives, the rebels' decision would echo throughout history. This is the untold story of the Siege of Masada, a tale of defiance, tragedy, and the true cost of freedom. Join us as we uncover the final moments of this legendary resistance. In the years leading up to the revolt, Judea was under Roman rule, but far from peaceful. The region was a melting pot of ethnic, religious, and class divisions. Jewish society was fragmented, with various groups vying for power and influence. The upper classes sought cooperation with the Romans, while the lower classes were burdened by heavy Roman taxes and oppression. The situation was a ticking time bomb, made worse by the insensitive and brutal approach of the Roman governors. The spark for the revolt came in 66 AD in the city of Caesarea. What began as a local conflict escalated into a full-blown riot. And the cause? A dispute over taxes and religious grievances against Roman rule. The Roman procurator responded with ruthless force, plundering Jerusalem and killing thousands of Jews. This act of cruelty ignited the Great Jewish Revolt. Rebellion spread across Judea like wildfire, and soon the entire province was engulfed in conflict. Jewish rebels managed to push Roman forces out of Jerusalem, a significant victory, but they didn't stop there. The fortress of Masada, perched high on a rugged mountain in the Judean desert, was captured by the Sicarii, an extremist faction. Known for their daring assassinations of Roman officials, the Sicarii were determined to resist Roman rule at any cost. Eliezer ben Yair, one of the most prominent leaders among the Sicarii, became the commander of Masada. Under his leadership, Masada became a stronghold for Jewish resistance and a symbol of the fierce desire to fight Roman domination. The Sicarii and their allies were determined to defend Masada until the very bitter end. Masada wasn't just any fortress, though. It was a marvel of ancient engineering and one of the most impenetrable strongholds in history. Situated on a steep, isolated mountain plateau in the Judean desert, it overlooked the Dead Sea, making its location both strategic and nearly unreachable. From afar, Masada looked like a natural fortress, with sheer cliffs that acted as barriers against any attacker. Access to the top of Masada was limited to a few dangerous paths. On the eastern side was the infamous Snake Path, a narrow, zigzagging trail that climbed 140 meters up from the desert floor. This path left any attacking force exposed to arrows and rocks long before they could reach the summit. On the western side, the terrain was somewhat more accessible, but it still required an 80-meter ascent. These natural forces made Masada nearly impossible to storm by any conventional means. Masada was designed to endure long sieges. Its water system, one of the most impressive features, consisted of dozens of cisterns carved into the mountainside to collect and store rainwater. These cisterns could hold up to 40,000 cubic meters of water, enough to supply the defenders for months, if not years. By 73 AD, Masada was the last stronghold of Jewish resistance, and Rome was determined to crush it. Flavius Silva, a seasoned Roman general, was tasked with this mission. He commanded the 10th Legion, an elite unit of the Roman army, along with several auxiliary forces, about 10,000 men in total. Among them were Jewish prisoners of war forced into labor for the Romans. Silva's first move was to ensure that no one could escape Masada or bring in reinforcements. To achieve this, the Romans built a circumvallation wall around the fortress. This wall, stretching over 3 kilometers, effectively sealed off Masada from the outside world. Camps and guard towers along the wall ensured that no movement went unnoticed. The stage was set for a long and grinding siege. The Romans' ability to overcome Masada's formidable defenses was a testament to their unmatched engineering prowess. A natural spur known as the White Rock gave them the opportunity to build a massive siege ramp, one of the most remarkable feats of Roman engineering. Starting with the spur, they gradually constructed the ramp, hauling dirt, rocks, and timber until it reached nearly 90 meters high. Jewish prisoners of war were forced to labor on the ramp's construction, an act of psychological warfare that weighed heavily on the defenders. For the rebels, watching the ramp inch closer and closer day by day must have been terrifying, knowing that their unbeatable fortress was becoming vulnerable. The Romans' relentless progress was a grim reminder that the end was near. As the siege ramp neared completion, the final assault on Masada was imminent. The Romans, led by Flavius Silva, prepared to unleash their siege tower and battering ram. The repeated thudding of the battering ram against the fortress walls had to have been a terrifying sound for the defenders. Despite the efforts to build a secondary wall of wood and earth to absorb the blows, the Romans eventually set it ablaze. By morning, the breach was complete, but when the Roman soldiers stormed the fortress, they found no battle awaiting them. Instead, they encountered an eerie silence. Nearly 1,000 men, women, and children had all taken their own lives, choosing death over capture. Eleazar ben Yair, their leader, had urged them to die free rather than face slavery. The mass suicide at Masada, as recounted by the historian Josephus, is seen as an act of defiant heroism, but modern historians debate the accuracy of the account. Some question whether this mass suicide occurred as described, given the lack of definite archaeological evidence. Still, the story has taken on profound symbolic meaning, especially in modern Israel, where Masada stands as a symbol of resistance and determination. Israeli soldiers today take an oath on Masada's plateau, vowing Masada shall not fall again. Whether viewed as an act of heroism or tragedy, the legend of Masada endures. The fall of Masada in 73 AD marked the definitive end of the Jewish revolt, cementing Rome's dominance over Judea. With the destruction of Jerusalem, the Temple, and Masada's final stand, Judea was finally absorbed into the Roman Empire. This crushing defeat led to the Jewish diaspora, scattering Jewish communities all across the world. Yet, Masada became more than just a historical event. It still remains a powerful symbol of resistance, defiance, and the tragic cost of war still today. A legacy that resonates deeply, particularly in modern Israel, as a reminder of resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. So what are your thoughts on this incredible story? What would you do if you were at Masada? Would you fight until the end? Well, let us know in the comments below.